Regardless of worker occupations or the duties and tasks being performed, working alone in any setting has associated hazards. In most cases, the hazards that come to our minds are physical in nature. For instance, those working in security can be subject to violence or mishaps such as falling or being unable to contact help or get assistance. Healthcare workers may be subjected to violence from the patients or residents they're caring for. And many workers may be tempted to lift and move things too heavy for them because they are working alone and run the risk of ending up with a musculoskeletal disorder. We tend to think of the psychosocial hazards people working in isolation might be at risk for are related to violence and harassment, which is most often the case. Gas station attendants are not only at risk for violence, but also because of the setting they're often subjected to harassment. The same can be noted for healthcare workers in long-term care and senior supportive living settings, especially when dealing with residents with complex behaviors. However, and it's a big however, there are other psychosocial risks to workers working alone that often go unnoticed. Organizations may not consider the other psychological impacts to workers that don't work in a community setting. Issues and impacts such as blurred boundaries between work and home life, increased feelings of isolation and segregation from coworkers, a lack of collaboration which leads to feelings their concerns might not be considered, increased fatigue because the shifts are often at night, and increase in anxiety related to feeling unsafe due to the increased risk of working alone. These factors have been shown in recent surveys and studies to contribute to workplace stress and impact mental health. It is important for both employers to take steps to monitor the mental health of workers working in isolation, and for those workers to take steps to fortify themselves and be on watch for a change in their health and their life balance outside of work. Some of the things that employers can do to alleviate these negative effects are to implement a phone or coworker check-in process where workers can meet and check in on each other and have a few minutes to chat and ensure their well-being of their colleagues. If there are multiple sites, create a process where workers can conference call to provide them with a team meeting atmosphere. It would also provide a good way for employers to disseminate their own news and updates to these workers. It may even be a consideration to form a Health and Safety Committee subcommittee of workers working in isolation. Employers should be implementing a personal safety response system which includes policies and procedures for workers to follow. This ensures that workers are well prepared for the isolated environment. There are other steps that workers can take to help alleviate the extra pressure working alone puts on mental health. Some of these are maintaining your personal networks, seeking out friends and family that you can interface with outside of your work hours, preferably ones with similar schedules. Find a walking buddy. Nothing beats a good walk after work to clear your head and absorb the event of the shifts. It's even better with a friend, even the four-legged kind. Finally, it is important to maintain a good diet and exercise regimen. Several studies validate the principle of maintaining a healthy body goes a long way to promoting mental health. Our job is to care for and support others, but we cannot do that without being well ourselves. It is important to constantly assess our own risk and be watchful of mental health hazards. After all, we need to take care so we can provide care.